Hello and welcome to the Print Live. The BJP-led National Democratic Alliance has taken a massive lead in Maharashtra, shaking off its dismal performance in the state in the Lok Sabha polls. However, in Jharkhand, the ruling JMM Congress alliance has crossed the halfway mark. Counting is still on. So there will be greater clarity. But we have with us my colleagues, political editor of The Print, DK Singh, Manasi Phadke, who is joining from Mumbai, and Sourav Barman to discuss what it means for both the alliances and at the same time what it means for the BJP, especially in Maharashtra. DK Singh, if we can start with you. Most of the exit polls had said that BJP will win, but the kind of performance that we see right now, what do you think are the factors behind this performance?
Well, if you traveled in Maharashtra before the polls, it was very clear that the BJP had an edge. It was much more organized in terms of its campaigning strategy, what it wanted. The cohesion among the allies was very good. They had a coordination mechanism on the ground. In the opposition camp, though, you know, it looked like only Sharad Pawar was fighting. There was nobody. And the edge, wherever you went, you always had this Ladki Behan Yojana being talked about. Infrastructure projects, again, Shinde government did a lot when it comes to pushing infrastructure projects, and many more were promised. So these were things people were talking about it, but given that there were six major players, three on each side, it was looking complex. But at the end of it, well, we see the results. What the opposition was banking on. So the strategy they had in the Lok Sabha election, they did not change it. They thought, over this stars apart narrative, that entire thing about the BJP trying to change the constitution, this, that, with their stars apart slogan, that worked for them in the Lok Sabha election. They managed to get a lot of Dalit votes, OBC votes, and they continued with the same strategy. So heard Rahul Gandhi all the time in every rally. He was talking about constitution. He was holding that constitution, the copy of the constitution everywhere. Now, you cannot be seeking votes with the same narrative all the time. I mean, they had to be much more imaginative. If you looked at the BJP's strategy or NDA's strategy in Maharashtra, well, they had properly analyzed their Lok Sabha performance, and they had come up with certain conclusions. For instance, they had decided, okay, they suffered because of this Maratha reservation stuff. Now they analyzed it, and they were of the opinion that agrarian distress was at the root of it. And so they decided addressing farmers' worries when it came to soybean or the onions. So they were addressing that issue at one level. At another level, because they thought there was alienation of OBCs and Dalits, there was a massive outreach to these communities. So you saw Bhupender Yadav, for instance. Bhupender Yadav basically having a series course of meetings. He had a meeting with every district BJP core committee. He had meetings with every subgroups of the SCs and OBCs, like many of them trying to address their grievances, working at a grassroots level. Then there was this issue about coordination in the Lok Sabha, coordination among allies. So you saw Ashwini Vaishnav sitting there in Mumbai, and constantly from 8 o'clock in the morning till well past 10 p.m., he would be addressing the issues, like he would be interacting with cadres, trying to get that smooth coordination among them. So BJP had everything, right from the narrative to government performance. They got it right. On the other hand, opposition actually, they were just banking on that, what worked for them, the Lok Sabha will work again. That didn't happen. It did not have any new things to offer. And what this election also shows you, going by the trend in Jharkhand, although it's a bit early, when the ruling party, ruling coalition gives you freebies, say, even in Jharkhand, you had all these money was being given to women. Although BJP
Bhaiya
tried to
Samman.
offer more, yeah, they had promised farm loan waiver, they had promised free electricity. All these things, when the ruling party gives, it resonates with the voters. When the opposition parties try to kind of outmatch it, it does not resonate that much. So this is what we have seen so far.
Well, Mansi, we had spoken about this during the exit poll discussion also. What does it mean for Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis?
For Devendra Fadnavis, I think this is a huge personal win for him as well. I mean, not just for the BJP, because Devendra Fadnavis was the BJP's face in the entire campaign, and I mean, he's not really had a good last couple of years from 2019 onwards, when he tried to form that government, the short-lived government of 72 hours with Ajit Pawar. Firstly, even after getting the mandate in 2019, he couldn't lead the BJP to install a government in Maharashtra. From then to I mean, when the BJP, the regional parties split, and the BJP says that it was not instrumental in splitting the parties, but it took advantage of them. So from then to now, to the entire Maratha reservation protests, where Fadnavis was personally made the villain of the whole thing, and people speculating about what exactly is Devendra Fadnavis's future now. Does he have a future in the state government, with Eknath Shinde kind of also coming into his own and showing that he's not a puppet of the BJP, and at times even overshadowing Devendra Fadnavis, especially when it comes to development projects. So Devendra Fadnavis was known as someone in 2014 who sped up development, especially in Mumbai. This time you saw that Eknath Shinde had kind of controlled most of that narrative. With everything that has happened in the past 2.5 years, the kind of performance that Devendra Fadnavis has managed to lead BJP into today, with leads in 126 of 288 assembly constituencies, it's even better than its 2014 performance. I mean, we'll have to look at the final numbers, but it looks like it's even better than its 2014 performance. And now there are talks about even people within the BJP are saying they would like to see Devendra Fadnavis as chief minister once again. In 2019, he had led a Me Punha Yein campaign. Me Punha Yein meaning I will come back. And then, with everything that happened post 2019, Devendra Fadnavis was also mocked for the campaign. Now there are chants of Me Punha Yein again within the BJP for Fadnavis. So earlier there was some sort of speculation about even if the BJP gets the higher numbers within the Mahayuti, and the Mahayuti forms a government, they might still go ahead with Eknath Shinde as chief minister, because it would be like a political arrangement. But with the kind of decisive victory that the BJP has got in this election, the BJP would also perhaps now want to have its own chief minister. And Devendra Fadnavis would be among the front runners. Earlier, it was also being said that the political climate and social and political climate in Maharashtra, with the caste equations and the Maratha protests and then the OBC protests, etc. It's not, the environment is not conducive to have a Brahmin chief minister. But again, with the kind of victory that the BJP has registered in this election, I don't think that will now be too much of a consideration if the party leadership wants to give another term to Devendra Fadnavis as the head of this government.
Well, Mansi, as you said, all eyes will now be on who the chief minister would be, the kind of result that we are seeing. Well, in the course of this live, we will be taking questions from our viewers also. So please do send in whatever you want to ask from my colleagues. Sourav, DK sir talked about how the opposition in a way functioned. If we talk chiefly about the Congress and Rahul Gandhi, what do you think went wrong as far as Maharashtra is concerned?
See, as far as Congress is concerned, it will have to reckon with the reality that the momentum generated by its performance in the Lok Sabha elections is all but over now. First, it was Haryana, and then it was Jammu and Kashmir, where it almost cost the NC the elections. It was a complete drag for the alliance in Jammu and Kashmir as well. And going ahead, even in the upcoming parliament session, we'll see a reflection of this new reality. Congress will no longer be in the driver's seat in the India bloc. And in terms of what went wrong in terms of the Congress campaign, as DK sir rightly pointed out, and Congress, the narrative that the Congress actually put forward in Maharashtra was the same that worked in its favor in Lok Sabha. And clearly they should have tweaked the narrative. They did not do so. And I can tell you this, that in the run up to the elections, even a month before the elections in Maharashtra, many Congress strategists, they had all but given up. They were saying in private that, I think we are going to lose. The BJP, the Mahayuti has a clear edge, and they were attributing that edge to the Ladki Bahin scheme, among others. And but of course, the party, the alliance in Jharkhand has done well, but it's going to be a long winter for the Congress, in the sense that the next set of elections in Delhi, no one gives Congress even a fighting chance, and the subsequent election will be in Bihar, where Congress is again a minor player. So it's
So,
going to be
Rahul
uphill.
Gandhi needs to, yeah, please go ahead.
No.
He has made it into an ideological fight,
Yes.
and that does not work. We have seen it over the last 3 Lok Sabha elections, series of assembly elections. He is fighting an ideological war. These are elections. I mean, this has to be a political war. Somewhere he needs to revisit that, because that's not working at all.
It has to be a political war, and he has said in as many words in several of his speeches as well that it's an ideological battle for him. In fact, after Lok Sabha, he became so confident that he went around telling assembly rallies in Jammu and Kashmir, even in Haryana, that people should now realize that it's the opposition which is running the government. The government may be in the BJP may be in power, but it's the opposition which is running the government. So many at that point were pointing out it is not confidence. It can actually be. It is a reflection of overconfidence. It may be complacency. And yes, yeah.
DK Singh, if we could talk about the role that the RSS played, a lot was written about how they stayed away from election during the Lok Sabha elections, but made a comeback in Haryana. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, do you think the way they have functioned that also has a role to play?
Of course, I mean, the entire narrative on the ground was built by the RSS. The entire feedback came from them, and they went door to door. There were thousands and thousands of workers of the RSS on the ground. Very, very important role in Maharashtra election as well.
And if we talk about Jharkhand, where the Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram, an affiliate of the RSS, that was spearheading the campaign there. However, as far as the numbers show, they have obviously not done as well as they were expecting. So, is it because of the tribal identity issue that the Hemant Soren government, the party was raising? Is it because of that this got deflected?
No, that also, but the BJP did not have a face in Jharkhand. I mean, Prime Minister Modi was the face. So you look at the options. You have somebody like Babulal Marandi. You remember, ever since he returned to the BJP and later on he was given the reins of the party in Jharkhand, BJP did not win any even by-elections. So Babulal Marandi was not working. You had, say, somebody like Arjun Munda, again not working. They didn't have a face. And then there was a sympathy factor for Hemant Soren. I mean, arresting him actually backfired on the BJP. BJP had to pay the price in the Lok Sabha election and now in the Assembly election also, because he was seeking sympathy votes. And it has worked for him. And of course, it goes without saying that the schemes, the welfare schemes, freebies that his government actually unleashed, and all these things put together worked. And the BJP, again, the very narrative was misplaced. Bangladeshi infiltrators, and that was the main narrative. Now, you get some small pockets where you have some, alleged infiltrators living, or some Bangladeshi staying, but it's not a pan-Jharkhand phenomenon. This land jihad, love jihad did not really resonate on the ground.
I'll just take a few questions from our viewers. Yadu wants to know, DK, if you could take this. UBT has become the biggest liability, he says, and Ajit Pawar has shown who owns NCP.
That's true. And UBT, in fact, for health reasons or whatever, Uddhav Thackeray was not able to campaign as well as he should have. It was mostly about his press conferences, speeches, and even when we were covering the election, we were told that he's almost absent from the ground, and even BJP had very very clear thing that the Congress voters had Congress votes have got transferred to the UBT, and that's how they came out very strongly in the Lok Sabha election. But that would not happen in the Assembly election. And BJP had done these calculations also. So say for instance, I have spoken about it earlier also in Dhule Lok Sabha constituency, for instance. There are 5 assembly segments where the BJP candidate led, and overall, the BJP candidate was leading by 1,90,000 votes. But in one Malegaon Central Assembly segment, it lost by 1,94,000 votes. So that margin of that difference of 4,000 votes, Malegaon Central is a Muslim dominated area. That's how the BJP lost. So BJP had analyzed it seat by seat, constituency by constituency, in terms of assembly segments, the Lok Sabha results. They did not really see Uddhav Thackeray doing that much. And if you remember, Manasi, we were all at Eknath Shinde's place. The kind of effort he has put in, it's not just about his Ladki Bahan scheme or not just about his infrastructure thing. He put his heart and soul into the campaign. So we were sitting at his house in Thane at 2:30, and he was interacting with us at 2:30 because he had come home at 2 o'clock. His son
2:30 a.m. DK, the keyword is AM.
His son Shrikant Shinde walks in at 3 o'clock. I asked him, where were you campaigning? And after that, Shrikant Shinde's wife comes home. So they were kind of working 24/7. Now, Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray, fine, they're big names. But then you have to work on the ground to kind of equations that you have to have with your party workers, leaders. You have to work on the ground. That was not happening with Uddhav Thackeray.
Right. Mansi Sankalp wants to know what's the future of Uddhav faction's Shiv Sena if Aditya loses, Aditya Thackeray.
Yeah, Aditya Thackeray is actually, that seat is being closely watched because the last time I checked, he was trailing, but it was by a minuscule 540 sort of votes. But anyway, even the fact that it's turning out to be such a close contest is honestly a major embarrassment for the Shiv Sena UBT. I mean, Aditya Thackeray is, the second most important leader in the party after Uddhav Thackeray. And this is one seat that the party should have ensured by all means that it manages to kind of secure. And the sort of lead that Aditya Thackeray had got in 2019, you could see in the Lok Sabha election this year that from the Worli Assembly segment per se, that lead had significantly narrowed to about 6,000 from about 40 odd thousand votes in 2019 elections. As far as the future of Shiv Sena UBT, see, no political party really goes away. I mean, the party has a significant history. The party has 50-60 years of work that has been put into it. Whereas the Shinde Shiv Sena definitely enjoys an edge from here on going forward for the next few years at least. It's not that the Shiv Sena UBT is going to go away anywhere or going to be finished or marginalized, but there might be a drain of a few leaders now over the next, maybe a year or so into the Shinde-led Shiv Sena, because everybody likes to be on the side of power eventually, especially the person who is contesting the elections. After the Shiv Sena split also, we saw that while a majority of MLAs went with Shinde, the party cadre on the ground, the functionaries who've never fought a single election, the Shakha system, largely remained with Shiv Sena UBT. So, Shiv Sena had mostly had that that clear line of these are the functionaries, these are the parties, this is the party's administrative unit, and this is the party's electoral unit. It's unsaid, of course, there is no such unit per se, but there was this clear distinction between the two. So the administrative unit largely remained with Shiv Sena UBT. Electoral unit largely went to Shinde-led Shiv Sena. Assembly elections are fought as much on the candidate as on the party. So it's 50% on the MLA, 50% on the party. Shiv Sena UBT had to bring out new faces almost everywhere because most of its incumbents were with Shinde Shiv Sena. So that was an additional challenge for the party as well. For the Shinde Shiv Sena, now with such a decisive victory, building an equally strong administrative unit to rival the Shiv Sena UBTs is not going to be a major challenge over the next few years. It has already done quite a lot of work on the ground, building shakhas, especially in its strongholds. And we are expecting that the Mumbai Municipal Corporation elections, or generally municipal corporation elections across Maharashtra, will happen next. When next, nobody really knows, because there's also a case that's pending in the Supreme Court. But in the political circles, it's expected that, sometime next year, these elections should take place. So that will be another, fighting chance that the Shiv Sena UBT has. If it manages to galvanize support for itself, especially in the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, then, it still comes out of this whole exercise with, some face that is saved.
Mansi, probably I have a different opinion on this. I think there'll be a meltdown in Uddhav Thackeray Sena. Because see, this politics of entitlement doesn't really work. You can't be sitting at home and just because you're Balasav Thackre's son, Shiv Sainik should be coming to you. So I think in coming weeks and months, you will see whatever MLAs he gets, whatever Shiv Sainik he's left with, many of them will start veering towards Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena.
Yeah, that's likely to happen. Because as I said, everybody likes to be on the side of power. I mean, it's sitting for the next 5 years out of power.
Your relevance on the ground is when you are with power. You have something to give. Otherwise, you get something and you give something to your people out there. Now, Uddhav Thackeray, it's not going to happen, and you are looking at the next 5 years. It's a long window.
DK, just to add to that, Anand Gupta, one of our viewers, actually wanted to know this, that would BJP now start gobbling up Shinde Sena, as Uddhav seems to have not performed the way he should have?
Some of them, yes. As I said, like Uddhav's Shiv Sainiks, there will be a split. Whoever leaves, some may go to the BJP, some may go to Shinde. But I would say most of them would go to Shinde, in fact.
And Mansi Sandeep Joshi wants to know, what's the future of Manoj Patel?
Manoj Patel was a phenomena. I mean, the Maratha quota demand has been a 2-decade-long demand, and at some or the other point of time, it has, come up with not with such a decisive phase that Manoj Patel gave the movement, but there have been protests every now and then. Had Manoj I mean, even in this election per se, you saw that the Manoj Patel factor was not as strong as you could see it in the in the Lok Sabha election this year. So I don't think Manoj Patel is going to be a huge element going forward in Marathwada, because again most of his ire was directed at Devendra Fadnavis, and you see how BJP has performed under Devendra Fadnavis's leadership. I am yet to look closely at the results of Marathwada, so I won't say too much on that region particularly. I'll take a studied look at it and then talk about it, but I don't think Manoj Patel is going to be a huge game changer anytime soon going forward.
DK, one of our viewers, Vamsi, wants to know, can it be assumed from that consolidation alone will not help, considering BJP won Maharashtra, I mean, it's leading, with consolidation and welfare schemes, and lost Jharkhand because it was solely relying on consolidation?
Consolidation, I'm not clear if he's talking about consolidation of dominant community. Yeah, that alone doesn't win the election. We saw it in Haryana and even in Western Maharashtra. I mean, Mansi was just talking about Jharkhand Patel phenomenon. When he withdrew from the electoral race, even after announcing it, the 11th hour, he decided not to contest. People were looking at it as Sharad Pawar's ploy. You wanted the Marathas to come together. But going by the performance of Sharad Pawar's NCP, looks like even that consolidation has not happened. Look, in Haryana, even Jats were not consolidated. In Maharashtra, again, they were expecting Marathas to consolidate. I don't really think, we need to study it more closely. But as it looks like, that consolidation has not happened that way.
Right.
And again, in Jharkhand also. In fact, they were trying to consolidate non-tribals also. While there was a massive outreach towards tribals over all this Hindutva, with the Hindutva pitch, the non-tribal consolidation that they were hoping for does not seem to have happened so far, going by the leads. But it's too early to talk decisively about this.
Saurav Sankalp wants to know, he's saying that once again BJP got bested by a regional leader, but the so-called Jan Nayak fell flat against even BJP state leaders. How will Rahul be viewed now?
Rahul will be a
Sankalp
much
wants to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
Rahul will be, of course, a much deflated LOP, the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, and the kind of spring in his step that we saw after the Lok Sabha elections, that might not be there anymore. And he was planning to aggressively raise the Adani issue in the parliament in the upcoming session, and that may not find as much resonance now. And of course, it's a huge psychological blow for the party and for Rahul both, because apart from the political significance of Maharashtra, we also need to remember it has Mumbai, the financial capital. That could have added in terms of resources, and for the party which is in power in just 3 states, including 2 in the southern India, it would have helped to a huge extent. So
Right.
that is not going to happen.
Sort of, I think this tally of 99 in the Lok Sabha was the worst thing to have happened to the Congress. They misread the results completely.
Yes.
I mean, it was the anti-BJP result. He looked at it as pro-Congress result, which it was not. And from then on, he has continued with the same narrative, thinking that he has already won, and it's only a matter of time when he will replace Prime Minister Modi. I mean, 29. So that their analysis of Lok Sabha results was completely flawed.
Yeah, in fact, they came up with the slogan "Sarkar Tumhari System Hamara." So that showed the extent of the misreading.
And look, wherever they have a strong organizational base, wherever they have strong regional leaders, look at Karnataka. Karnataka, if you look at the bypolls, the Congress is doing very well because they have a big organizer in the form of, say, DK Shiv Kumar. They have a popular face in as Siddharamaiah, and both are working very hard organizationally. They're working on the ground 24/7. But they do not have the similar setup in other states. And the tragedy for the Congress, that the High Command does not even look bothered about this, that you don't exist on the ground. The organizational is in a shambles.
Yeah, I mean, even in Haryana, the Congress party still doesn't have LOP. So, in fact, the joke that is going around in Congress circles is that many in the Congress are saying, let's hope the party does not raise the EVM bogey once again, because we saw what happened after Haryana. They virtually rejected the results. So,
DK, one of the interesting, features of these elections is also welfare schemes, which many call it Revdi culture. What do you think, from now onwards, we have Delhi elections, we have Bihar election. Do you think this freebies culture is here to stay, considering at one point even the BJP was against it?
I think that is one negative that I'll take from this verdict. Big negative, I would say, because this verdict would be read as, reaffirmation of the freebies working. Same, this happened in Maharashtra, and this is happening in Jharkhand too. I mean, it looks like going by trends. And if that is the takeaway for the political parties, then you will be seeing more and more freebies in Delhi. You will be seeing similar things in Bihar, and it will continue. And I don't know where it will end. That's the unfortunate part of this verdict.
And if we can talk a little about, Mansi has already touched upon it, but, the race for the chief minister. Do you think it's going to be a difficult call for the BJP or the MVA to take?
Look, fact is, Maharashtra, it's a mandate for the incumbent, and you have to give it to Eknath Shinde. The mandate is for him. But yes, as Mansi pointed out, the kind of numbers you have, and there is no way that the BJP is going to give up on the chief ministership. That fight will happen. Let's see. But the fact is, the mandate is for Eknath Shinde.
Mansi, we've not seen, obviously the results are not completely in, but if we could talk about, Nagpur and other regions where Nitin Gadkari also campaigned aggressively. Do you think that also had some impact in the BJP's or the MVA's win?
Yeah, so Vidarbha, Vidarbha was largely a fight between the BJP and the Congress. And the Vidarbha region itself accounts for 62 seats. Nagpur is, at the center of Vidarbha per se. And the BJP has registered a lot of leads from Vidarbha. BJP contested 47 seats in Vidarbha. 36 of them were directly against the Congress, and Vidarbha has delivered significant part of the BJP's overall, seems to be delivering a significant part of the BJP's overall tally. So yeah, I mean, Gadkari campaigned for the BJP, although Gadkari's campaign largely, as we spoke during the after the exit polls also, was largely about his own work. The RSS did a lot of work for the BJP in Vidarbha. Their first meeting was in July, right after the Lok Sabha election results. And from what I hear from BJP leaders in Vidarbha, there were a lot of inputs that they gave on which candidates to put where, how to counter a certain narrative where. So they look at the RSS, which is also headquartered in Nagpur, as a unit that is not just advisory for the BJP but also is helpful when it comes to disaster management. And the Lok Sabha election, that disaster management, they couldn't really rely on the RSS for help because it was not fully involved in the elections, as everybody spoken about earlier. But this time, RSS played a very keen role right since the beginning. So that would have also helped the BJP, as DK spoke about earlier.
And in fact, Vidarbha result also reinforces the point that when it's a direct contest between the BJP and the Congress, BJP always has a big edge. So this time also the two were directly contesting against each other on 76 seats, including 36 in Vidarbha. And you see the result. Now, Mansi will be analyzing it later once all results come in. But the thing is, the kind of election machinery the BJP has, the Congress is no match to them. Some narrative may help them once in a while here and there, but otherwise in direct contest, BJP always has a great chance. And that was when I was in Mumbai, I was talking to a BJP strategist. He was saying, the Congress should have got 35 more seats from its alliance partners. They were winning seats for the Congress. And then my comment was, are you sympathetic with the Congress or are you in despair that probably you could have got 36, 35 more seats to, fight with the Congress directly?
I think the major, sorry, just to add to this, a major, the major difference here was that after the Lok Sabha election, the Mahayuti government and particularly the BJP actually sat down and identified all the local reasons that led to their failure in certain constituencies across Maharashtra, whether it was distress of the onion farmers in North Maharashtra, soybean cotton farmers in Marathwada and Vidarbha. They designed a package for these farmers. They focused on this entire narrative about the investments going to Gujarat. That was countered by everybody in the Mahayuti at every possible chance, loudly talking about 52% of the FDI having come to Maharashtra this year and how that narrative is wrong. So whereas the BJP did a lot of introspection and tried to plug all the holes that it had kind of led to the sinking of the Mahayuti in Lok Sabha election, the Congress's narrative, as DK pointed out, just did not change. Not just the Congress's narrative, even Shiv Sena UBT's narrative for that matter. I mean, for how long can you go on saying Minde, Minde, Gaddar? People have heard that now for the past 2 years, and they now want to know what you can offer them if we vote for you. So that was, I think, the major one of the major factors at play here.
Congress was almost a reluctant participant. I mean, look at this. Sourav has spoken about it earlier. From the 6th to the 12th, when the campaign is in full swing in Maharashtra, Rahul Gandhi is nowhere to be seen. He decided to go to Wayanad and spend 3 days there. Come on, Wayanad, Priyanka's victory was a given. I mean, it has about 58% minority population. And still you are spending 3 days in that constituency. You should have been focusing more on Maharashtra. He has addressed, if I'm not wrong, he has just addressed 7-8 meetings in Maharashtra overall. When you are contesting over 100 seats, 7-8 meetings actually hardly count. It shows that you did not see yourself in a fight, or you did not bother about it.
DK Vamsi wants to know, based on your own article about going back to pre-Modi era, is this election continuation of that trend?
Sorry, I didn't get it. Pre-Modi era?
There was an article that you had written going back to pre-Modi era. So Vamsi wants to know, is this election continuation of that trend?
Politics going back to pre-Modi era? Yes. So look, you may say continuation. Many would, or in fact, I'm sure by evening today you will hear all the BJP leaders talking about the victory of how it actually proves the efficacy of brand Modi even now. But I would look at it a bit differently. Look, in Haryana, BJP won, of course, but Prime Minister Modi was not the face. He had just 4 rallies there. BJP did its best to hedge him in a way, in the sense, hedge brand Modi, that he should not be addressing those many rallies because BJP was apprehensive over the results. So Haryana victory can't be credited to brand Modi. In Maharashtra, again, it was not about Prime Minister Modi. The Prime Minister Modi was the face in Jharkhand. He was the face. BJP in Maharashtra also, BJP did not declare any chief ministerial candidate, but it was given because Shinde was the sitting CM, and on the posters you would see Fadnavis and Prime Minister, or Shinde and Prime Minister. In Jharkhand, it was all about the Prime Minister, and the results are not very, very encouraging for the BJP there. So yes, I would probably stick to that at least till this election. We'll see. Going forward, we will have elections in Delhi, where again the Prime Minister will be the face, and then we'll talk about it again.
Yeah, just to add to that, even during the manifesto launch, if you look at their manifesto, over 17, 18 odd pages had just PM's picture. And at the same time, the campaign that was launched later, everything was about centered around PM Modi. So that is definitely there. DK and Mansi, Sourav, if you can ask you about, the buttenge to cutenge narrative. That was something, that was much talked about during the elections. Apart from the impact that it has had on the election, what does it mean from now onwards to other elections? Will BJP be focusing more on that? DK, if you
I
could
think,
start.
Neelam, it has not worked, Fred. You can look at the tally and say it has worked in Maharashtra, but I would say Maharashtra, it was about freebies and push to infrastructure. All talks about governance. It was for the incumbent government. It was not about butting to cutting. Although we'll be analyzing the results closely, we will see. I can't say definitely, but then you have to look at Jharkhand also, because in Jharkhand, the BJP went for a totally polarizing narrative, and that has not worked. So in case of Maharashtra again, we will see. We'll have to look at those constituencies and see how it has worked. But Maharashtra is largely about governance, and because it has, if it worked in Maharashtra, which I'm doubtful, it would have worked in Jharkhand also, which it has not. In Haryana
Mansi,
also, in Haryana, the BJP did not really go for the polarizing narrative. BJP won. In Maharashtra, batenge to katenge, ek hai to safe hai. Again, now you saw even Ajit Pawar distancing himself from that, and it worked for him. Ajit Pawar disowned that. He just said that it does not work in Maharashtra. Many of the BJP leaders came out and said that no, it does not work in Maharashtra. Shinde actually gave it a new spin, saying that it was about uniting voters, like they should all go and vote. So that narrative played up, but then all these alliance partners, they were very, very clear that it does not work in Maharashtra, and they went public with this. So I don't really see this thing having worked on the ground, in fact.
right. Mansi, your take on that, considering you reported from the ground.
On the ground, the conversation was actually mostly on development and the Ladki Bahin scheme. What works in Maharashtra, what has worked in the past several elections is talk of development. That is, and of course, caste considerations, etc., all of that is there. But the one major narrative that always people look out for in Maharashtra is what will you offer us in terms of development. If you look at the overall voter turnout, this time there was a massive increase in voter turnout, and the Mahayuti actually went from, I mean, it stressed a lot on people needing to come out and vote in large numbers. In the same breath, the BJP gave that, the spin about Hindus need to unite and vote because there was vote jihad last time, etc. But yeah, while overall voter turnout has increased, if you look at the voter turnout among women, now I have figures here for this time, which is 65.22% now, from 59.04% in Lok Sabha elections. So that's a huge good 5% jump, or even 59.2% in the 2019 assembly elections. You see that women have come out and voted in large numbers this time. So more than anything else, it's the Ladki Bahin scheme that seems to have worked on the ground.
Right. Saurav, Shravan, analyze with Shravan. wants to know, should Congress remove strategists and rely on party leadership? Seems Congress is too dependent on Sunil.
Uh, well, I mean,
Kanugulu. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, to be fair, the so-called strategists had actually conveyed it to the Congress High Command a month back that they were in a precarious position. They could read the situation well, and it was already conveyed to the High Command. Of course, you can have a relook. Congress has hired and Congress has engaged many strategists over the years. Kanugulu has delivered in some states. He has not delivered in some states. So yeah, that's a separate question. Coming back to your
Right.
question on Ek Hai Safe Hai narrative, from the Congress's perspective, I would say that this particular slogan is essentially an emotive slogan. It plays on the emotions of people. Now you look at the Congress counter. Day before the elections in Maharashtra, Congress came up with its own counter. Rahul Gandhi held a press conference where they tried to basically they dragged Narendra Modi and Adani. They highlighted the nexus between the two, and they pointed out that stands for Ek Hai to Save Hai. So so this is not to give Adani any certificate of honesty, but the Congress really needs to go back to the drawing board and think: can it really counter such emotive slogans by dragging the PM and some industrialist? Will it have any resonance on the ground? So that is for the Congress to think.
Mansi, you have answered this question partially, but one of the viewers wants to know, does this victory mean RSS is finally back in the political fold with BJP with active members on ground? If DK sir, you can also discuss.
Yeah, of course, we have discussed it several times. I mean, look, in Haryana it happened, in Maharashtra it has happened, and Jharkhand also RSS was very active. But as I said, the BJP somehow made a mistake, a big mistake in actually nationalizing the entire campaign. This entire polarizing narrative that did not work in Jharkhand. They did not work at local level, and it did not have the face. So RSS worked in Jharkhand also. But yes, RSS is very much back. RSS has proved that without it being active on the ground, the BJP cannot go beyond a point.
So from what my conversations with BJP leaders is basically that one of them actually gave me this anecdote. I mean, example of a father-son relation. Father will tell his son, please don't do this once. Second time also the father may say, please don't do this. It's not good for you. The son still goes ahead and does it. Then the father says, okay, fine. Then face the consequences. How many more times will I tell you? But when the son really gets into trouble, then the father is like, okay, fine, I'll come and help you now. So this is kind of what happened with the RSS and BJP this time.
I remember recently, I think Mohan Bhagwat said, "Kabhi kabhi danda bhi karna padta hai." So, so many were saying that this was also something that was about BJP. Well, Sankalp wants to know what went wrong for BJP in Lok Sabha now that we have data on 3 state elections post Lok Sabha. DK, if you could take that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get.
So Sankalp wants to know what went wrong for the BJP in the Lok Sabha, the performance in the Lok Sabha. Now that we have data on 3 state elections and how they have performed, so why did they not perform well during the Lok Sabha?
Well, we have discussed it several times. What went wrong with the BJP in the Lok Sabha? This entire narrative about constitution, the BJP planning to change the constitution, that actually alienated Dalits, OBCs. That worked against the BJP. What worked against the BJP was also the way they were trying to settle scores. All these leaders settled scores with each other. It was like they took the victory for granted, and so decided to put people, put them down. For instance, there was a clear effort to put Yogi Adityanath down. He wanted his own candidates. He had his own list of candidates. The BJP High Command didn't agree, paid the price for it. RSS also did not participate actively in many states. Wherever they had issues with the ticket selection and the narrative, RSS stayed away. So all these factors worked against the BJP in the Lok Sabha election. And also the fact, in hindsight, now if you talk to BJP leaders, they also say that probably, when you're going for, if you're going to seek your mandate for the third time, it needed some kind of, push in terms of freebies. So what more would you offer? So you have given me, you promised this in 2014, you delivered. You promised this in 2019, you delivered. Now what are your promises?
त्याच्यावर क्लिक कसं करता येईल? Press
Main thing
Control D.
was about continuance of the governance model. That was the BJP's promise. That probably also did not work. And after that, we've seen the BJP
Right.
started
You
working on
will
all
the-
those directives which worked against the party in the Lok Sabha election, right from this so-called propaganda about the plan to change the constitution to having a coordination with the RSS, getting the RSS back, and basically yielding to the RSS. Okay, fine, you manage the thing, and we'll go by your advice. Every single thing that went against the BJP kept working, and then you have seen these freebies from one state to another. So BJP actually went back to the drawing board to fix all the glitches that it had faced in the Lok Sabha election, which the opposition did not.
Yeah. Saurav, Shravan wants to know, is the Congress overplaying the caste card? He's saying people want to hear about job creation, wealth generation, but all we hear is caste census. We saw how it panned out during the Lok Sabha election, but we also saw subsequently in Haryana, in Jammu and Kashmir, now Maharashtra, how whether that main focal issue of Congress, do you think they're overdoing it?
So, well, you can turn it around and say that it worked for them. It worked for the opposition in Lok Sabha, and it worked for not just for the Congress. It worked for the Samajwadi Party, and it is one primary reason why the BJP stopped well below the halfway mark of 272. And to say that the Congress is overplaying the caste card, it is convenient to say that when a party is losing a set of elections, so we can always point out and say, look, the kind of issues that you are holding up, it's not working in your favor. But I think Rahul Gandhi has made it pretty clear that Congress caste census is going to be the Congress's calling card in the years
Right.
going in. And to be honest, no party, even the BJP, has not really countered that demand. BJP is not saying that BJP is not coming out and saying that we are not going to hold a caste census. In fact, no party has said it. So clearly, every party is apprehensive about its potential impact on the electorate. And even in Haryana, for example, Congress did not really overplay the caste card. Congress has not really overplayed the caste card, but I would say, but it is very much a part of its it is very much a part of its agenda. But the Congress held up different factors. It held up a different set of factors in J&K, different factors in Maharashtra, and different factors in Haryana. And I don't think any political party worth its salt in India can ignore caste and can do
Right.
without caste.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Saurav. We will be back again with latest updates, more analysis. Guests also will be joining us in the next broadcast, so do join in.